This is the day that the Lord has made. We are already rejoicing, ladies and gentlemen, and we are glad in it. Happy Friday. Today is Friday, July the 5th. My hope and expectation is that your week, your 4th of July, and your day has been absolutely amazing. Welcome to the Ramon Preston Show. Today, we're going to be going into part 2 of a discussion that we're having about holding companies and asset management. Holding companies and asset management. If you are coming on, joining us live on this beautiful Friday, I want to say welcome to the Ramon Preston Show. We are live right here in the beautiful Buckhead community of Atlanta. Myself, my squad, and we are prepared. We're prepared to help you end 2024 strong. We're in the second half of this calendar year. We have so much potential. We have so many possibilities. They are endless. As long as you get the right information, as long as you make the right connections, and as long as you put forth the right amount of action. So welcome to the show. I'm your host, Ramon Preston. If you don't know that every Monday through Friday, as much as I possibly can, unless we're out looking at real estate or we're consulting or coaching clients or we're just in a busy meeting. Otherwise, I show up here live 12 o'clock noon Eastern Standard Time. And my purpose of showing up here is to share information with you. Information that I know can help you properly start, properly structure, and at some point properly scale any business, ministry, income stream, or wealth building dream. Maybe you're like me, you are in ministry, you might have a nonprofit, or perhaps you're just an entrepreneur, business owner, but you want to properly structure your operation. You want to make sure that all of the pieces of the puzzle of your business are put together. Well, that's what we do here at Ramon Preston Enterprises. I'm a business coach and consultant, financial coaching consultant, real estate coaching consultant. And what we do on a day-to-day basis for our clients and for our students is educate them and to assist them so that they can set up their holding companies, their operating companies. We work with them to make sure that their products and services are priced and packaged and presented correctly. We help our students and clients integrate the right systems and processes. Anything that has to do with setting up properly a small business, that's what we do here at Ramon Preston Enterprises. Now, I've been having a lot of conversations and discussions with my community, not just about holding companies, because that's been a very popular topic that I could say for the last 5 years, I've become more known for when it comes to holding companies than anything, more than just ministry. I've been known for ministry because I've been a preacher for over 20 years, more than real estate. There's any topic that I have become more popular on for the last 5 years, it's been holding companies. And just within the last, let's say 1 to 2 years, I've been talking more about asset management and things that fall under asset management. Now, why do I want to talk so much about these two things, holding companies and asset management? Well, here's why. I think every entrepreneur and small business owner, no matter what business you want to have in terms of providing a service or selling a product, I think we should all, as entrepreneurs and small business owners, own holding companies. I believe that our main company, the parent company, should be structured as a holding company, and we should make sure that we build an infrastructure that solidifies our legacy. It makes what we do more efficient. There are so many benefits to having a holding company. So that's one part of the discussion. Now, when you add the asset management piece to your holding company, this is something that I've been talking a lot about just within the last couple of years, pairing it with my information on holding companies. The asset management part really positions you to pivot out of certain roles that most entrepreneurs get stuck in. Most entrepreneurs get stuck in laboring inside their business, operating inside their business, which, by the way, I do both every day. No matter how much I know about holding companies, no matter how much I know about asset management and acquisitions and the accumulation of assets and all these other things, I still got to show up every day and labor in my business, at least for now. I still got to operate certain aspects of my business, at least for now. I still have to be the CEO of every business that I own and run, at least for now, no matter how much I know about holding companies and asset management. So it doesn't mean, especially when you're on the come up, that you're going to automatically stop doing these other things in your business. But what it does mean is you have an end in mind. It means you do have an exit strategy. It means you do see the light at the end of the tunnel. And so when you think about holding companies, that's one thing, all right? We understand the structure side of the holding company. But when you pair the holding company with asset management, this is where you position yourself for the greatest scale ever. That's what I'm doing. So let me share with you again how we tied holding companies and asset management together. Remember, I painted this picture where we showed you at the top. This would be your holding company, LLC, and you stand at the top of your holding company. Of course, you're probably going to have we're going to use the circles for divisions, though they may be certain operational departments, kind of like when you walk into a supermarket, right? You go into a supermarket and then they got aisles, and on each aisle, they got products. Around the store, they might have certain services they provide. But when you walk into a supermarket, they might have 60,000 SKUs of different products and other services. But those 60,000 SKUs inside that supermarket are made up of the 15 to 20 aisles, right? Well, when you have a holding company, there may be certain aisles you have, which we're using as circles. We would consider them to be divisions. These are divisions. Now, you got to be very strategic about how you set up divisions inside of a holding company, because remember, the primary purpose of your holding company, primary purpose of your holding company is to hold assets. It may not be the only purpose when you're on the come up. This is something a lot of people who set their infrastructures up at the beginning don't understand. They just think, oh, I can't do nothing with this holding company. Well, when you're on the come up, depending on what side of the tracks you came up on, you might need to do something with that holding company. And if there is some risk involved, you just blanket that risk with insurance. I'm just kind of walking y'all through this process. Then you have here, these boxes represent other entities which are considered subsidiaries. These are other LLCs that are owned by your holding company. Remember, these other LLCs and some of these divisions, they all represent products and services that you are providing in the marketplace to make money. All right? I think that makes sense. When you put this type of infrastructure together, you just get a lot of benefits. One of the most important benefits that I see a lot of entrepreneurs get when they build this type of infrastructure is mentally they free themselves up so that they don't think they become imprisoned by working in a business just to sell a product or provide a service. It also makes your operation more efficient. It gives you leverage. It gives you purchasing power. It gives you so many other things. It gives you the ability to build a brand, to market yourself different, to stay at the top, and to offer high-level services. Like this one infrastructure with the holding company, especially if you have divisions and subsidiaries, This infrastructure puts you in the most powerful position to pivot, or in other words, to scale at another time in the future. Okay. But now when you see this infrastructure and you understand how it's built, there are certain roles that you're going to play inside of this infrastructure that leads you to the light at the end of that tunnel. Okay, some of those roles, let me give them to you. You have a laborer, you could be an operator, you're the CEO, and then you get to a point to where you become the asset accumulator. We're going to put accumulator. Then you become the asset acquirer. You acquire assets. And then at some point in your growth, you become the asset manager. And this is why I'm talking so much about holding companies and asset management, because the goal is for you to get to a point that you stand on top of your holding company. Your holding company has operational divisions, subsidiaries, all these different investments and activities going on. You got businesses and teams and staff. You got all this stuff happening, but you are here. And what is your role here? Your role here is an asset manager. That's where the holding company and the asset management plays the most effective role. To the extent that if I knew years ago when I first started my entrepreneurial journey, if I knew then, everybody says that, what I know now, I would not have even started an operating business like this. I wouldn't have even started a business to sell products or to provide services. I hope what I'm saying makes sense. Once you learn asset management, you may have already learned at that point how to acquire assets, how to accumulate assets, how to be a good CEO, how to be a business operator, how to labor, how to wake up every day and grind. That's why I said these roles here, or designations within your enterprise, they are stages of development that you go through. So my wife and I, we started our entrepreneurial journey, let's say 21 years ago when we started, okay? So that was 21 years ago when we started. Well, I wasn't thinking like an asset manager because I didn't know what an asset manager was 21 years ago. And in order for me to have known what an asset manager was, I would have needed to understand the acquisition of assets, the accumulation of assets. I would have needed to understand how to be a CEO, how to operate a small business. I didn't know any of that. I didn't understand any of that. So where did I start? I had to start as a laborer. I'm just a grinder. I'm just waking up every day doing what I need to do. But again, if I knew then, 21 years ago, what I know now, I would not have started a business, LLC or whatever, to sell a product or to provide a service. Why? Why? Because I most likely would have just bought a business as an acquisitions manager. I would have just been looking for a business to buy that was already existing. I would not have started a business I could have bought. Most people who understand this stuff here, let me put a red square around it, because I'm trying to get all of you to see how powerful and important it is for you to learn this stuff. I'm going to put a red square around here. So we already know CEO, operator, laborer. We know those roles. But I'm telling you, anybody that you meet that understands asset accumulation, if they know how to identify with assets, things that produce money, things that could be accumulated under a business, things that could monetize and be repackaged and repurposed. These are assets, right? Things that could be leveraged. Anybody that you meet that understands asset accumulation, asset acquisition, and asset management, Anybody that you meet that understands this world, they will tell you, it would be much better to buy an existing business than it will be to start a business from the ground up. Almost everybody you meet who understands this will tell you that. And most of them will probably tell you, even though they know how to be CEOs, even though they know how to operate small businesses, even though they don't mind rolling up their sleeves and laboring, most of them will tell you that they do not want to live their whole life here. And that's where most entrepreneurs and small business owners live. And like I said, I've been an entrepreneur for 21 years. I've started several small businesses within these 21 years, and I am still categorically a small business owner. I have a small staff. You know, when you look at the bigger picture of entrepreneurship and business ownership, it's only 5 of us, okay? I have a team of 5 full-time employees. That's not big, okay? That's a small, very small business, even though it's bigger than most businesses. But my point is this. Even though I still have to do these things, I have positioned myself mentally. I have educated myself, and I'm continuing to be a student of this game. This is the game. Now, this plays a role in the game, but this is the game. And this is one of the reasons why I tell entrepreneurs, especially the ones that I work with on a regular basis, because that's all 99% of my clientele and my customers and students are entrepreneurs. And I tell all of them this. The reason why you want to learn the holding company side is because this infrastructure accelerates your learning curve for this. It teaches you to be a better laborer. It teaches you to be a better business operator. It teaches you to be a real CEO, and it positions you and prepares you to become an accumulator of assets. It positions you and prepares you to become an acquisition specialist, an expert, and an asset manager. I'm telling y'all, the next 3 to 5 years, there are already studies that have been done. Studies have already been done to show that by 2030, it's 2024 right now. There are studies that have already shown by 2030, there will be tens of millions of businesses that will either close or be sold or transferred to other people who understand this. I'm not saying some of those businesses won't be sold or transferred to people who just run their own small business. That will happen. There's going to always be businesses that one business owner gives to another or sells to another. But it doesn't mean it's going to be successful. It doesn't mean it's going to be the most efficient. It doesn't mean that it's going to be extremely profitable. It doesn't mean that it's going to free the current business owner up when they acquire a new business, because it could just happen. It could just be a stroke of luck. Or it could just be because they have a relationship or because they know somebody. We don't want it to be that. We want it to be strategic because we have prepared ourselves, okay? So you listening to me and to other people who are talking about these things like me, this is the beginning of you putting yourself in the best position to not just make a lot of money within the next few years, but to exit certain roles that you would have otherwise been stuck in for the next couple of decades. We don't want you stuck in those roles. I want you to stand at the top of the mountain of your infrastructure, run your legacy, build an empire, use the concepts and the principles that we're talking about, and to essentially be an asset manager running the assets that you have acquired accumulated and have managed and developed throughout your time as an entrepreneur. So hopefully what I'm saying to you makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, feel free to ask whatever questions you want to ask. But again, just setting up your holding company or restructuring your current business enterprise using the holding company concept, just doing that is foundational to graduating or exiting the roles of just laboring every day, operating a business every day, running as a CEO of business so that you can start getting into the asset column. We want you to be in the asset column. And I'm not talking about a profit and loss sheet asset column. I'm talking about when it comes to running an organizational enterprise, we want you to learn how to accumulate assets, acquire assets, and manage assets. So I've been on this journey myself for the last couple of years. I am still a student of asset accumulation, acquisitions, and management. I have learned a lot. I have been able to practice as a real asset-minded person. I've been able to practice it because I've accumulated a lot of assets under my holding company, under my umbrella. When I say accumulate, that means I have taken things that were valuable to me, they were valuable to my students and my clients and my community, to the marketplace, to customers, and I've taken those assets and I've packaged them and repurposed them in a way that they bring value to my enterprise, they monetize in the marketplace, they give me purchasing power, they increase the net worth and the value of my enterprise because I have strategically identified with them, brought them under my umbrella, and positioned them in ways that they mean something, not just to me, but they mean something to the marketplace and to my customers and clients. That's the power of asset accumulation. I am also an asset acquisition person. Why? Well, the main assets that I acquire are real estate assets. But at some point, I'm going to start acquiring businesses or other enterprises. And guess what these other businesses have? These other businesses have assets that have been accumulated, intellectual property, physical property. They have so many other things that just explode the overall growth projection of my enterprise. So that's why you want to figure this part out as quick as you can. Now, in order to figure out the CEO, operator, laborer part, there are just some fundamental things you got to learn. You have to understand not just your entity structure, but you have to understand the basic fundamentals of creating products and services and selling products and services. You need to understand the basics of systems and processes for sales, marketing, financials, administrative operations. You don't have to be a genius at all of them, but you have to at least be able to wrap your mind around them to run a basic business. And again, if you learn it, one of the first things you're going to realize is I should not have started a business from the ground up. I should have just skipped this, learned the fundamentals while understanding how to accumulate and acquire assets. So instead of starting a business from the ground up, trying to figure out what products and services I'm going to sell, I'll skip that part and jump right into I'm going to acquire a business that already has that. And I'm familiar with all the things that it has because I've educated myself on that. I wish I would have did it. If I would have did that or knew to do that 21 years ago, I wouldn't have been around here trying to start a business from the ground up. No sales, no products, no services. I'm sitting down trying to figure out, okay, what am I going to sell? What am I going to price it at? What services I'm going to provide? I wouldn't have did that. I would have skipped right to asset acquisitions. I would have just sought out a business that I could buy if I understood that. Okay? So hopefully you got something out of this. Again, I want to just refresh your memory. If you've been following me, if this is your first time watching the show, I've already talked a lot about holding companies. We got a couple thousand videos on our YouTube page. All you have to do is just go to my YouTube page and just type in Ramon Preston Holding Company. You're gonna have more videos about holding companies that come up than you can watch probably in one day. You're gonna have to binge watch a couple thousand videos, maybe, at least several hundred videos. And then when it comes to the asset management part, it's really about you mentally positioning yourself at the top. Because if you don't understand the holding company part, most likely you're never going to get out of the role of a laborer in your mind. You're never going to get out of the role of operator in your mind. You're never going to get out of the role of CEO in your mind. Where asset-minded people who want to be here as asset managers, who want to acquire assets and accumulate assets, these people don't think about how they can personally do all this or why they can't do it, because that limits them from purchasing assets. That limits them from pursuing certain opportunities because they think in their mind that they have to do it. People who are here, they understand, I don't have to do it. I'm going to deploy systems and processes and platforms and technology and people to do it, but I at least need to know how to quarterback this thing, right? I need to know how to run this thing and oversee this thing and make sure that everything is being put together. And that's how you get there and stay there. And that's where everyone should want to ultimately be. So again, if you need any resources on holding companies and asset management, this is one of the workbooks that we have. It's a part of our holding company course and startup kit. We have an entire training on holding companies and asset management. We have an entire workshop that we host on holding companies and asset management. And of course, we coach and consult people. That means we sit down with you and we'll work with you to show you how to put this thing together. Now, as a starting point, if buying a course or attending a workshop or paying for a coaching or consulting session is not where you at right now, for starters, here's a good place for you. All you have to do is click the link in the description. If you're watching from IG, you're going to have to go to my bio, click the link tree in the bio, click that free resource, and you're going to see a free business assessment workbook. This is a 17-page workbook, and this workbook explains the 5-step consulting and coaching process that we use to work with our clients and our students. So that gives you an opportunity to get the ball rolling, to make sure that you understand the basic fundamentals of structuring a business. And then once you go through this workbook, there are videos to walk you through each of the 5 steps. I want you to write down questions. I want you to circle whatever questions if you download and print out the workbook. And then once you go through that one workbook with the walkthrough modules, it's probably going to take you about 30 to 45 minutes. Once you get through it, you're probably going to have a lot of questions about holding companies, asset management, products, services, systems, processes. That's good because your mind is opening now. Then what you do is you reach out to me for a free strategy call. You text the word strategy to one of these numbers, and that way we're able to answer questions that you have. And again, you might not want to buy any product. You might not want to buy a course. Maybe you're not that person. Like I have a lot of people I talk to who are just not student type people. They don't want to sit and watch courses all day. They don't want to sit in workshops all day. Well, guess what? You may need a one-on-one coaching session. Maybe you could get everything in one session. Maybe you just need a consultation to help you put a project together for the next 3, 6, 12 months. Whatever the case is, we offer this free resource. It's a business assessment workbook. It explains our process for helping people properly start and structure their business and everything under the hood of their business. It opens your mind to questions you probably wasn't thinking about. It helps you to understand how you name your business, how you position yourself in your business, how you price your products and services. It gives you a great outlook of how to really put together a solid business enterprise. And again, if you have any questions, or when you have questions, once you've completed that, you could text strategy to one of those numbers. We'll reach back out to you. And don't be concerned about, okay, I don't want to buy nothing from him. It's okay. You know how many hundreds and hundreds of people have received free offers and resources like this from us, and they have reached out to us, and we may have taken 15, 20 minutes with them over the phone. We may have been on a Zoom. We may have been on a call, just talking with them, answering questions. And then when they got their answers, they felt like, I'm good now. I'll see you on the other side. That's cool. Or maybe we've gotten on the phone with someone and they're like, hey, I need more information. I need to schedule a one-on-one session. Sometimes people watch like now, and you may be that person that's like, listen, I've watched enough of your videos. I've heard enough from you, Ramon, to know that you know what you're talking about. You're doing it. You demonstrate it. And I just have not pulled the trigger to become a client, to become a mentee in your mentorship, to become a student in your program. Then maybe you don't have to go through downloading the workbook, texting the word strategy. You just need to call the number and let's have an initial consultation and get you signed up to whatever product or service or program that you know best fits you. So if you've already heard enough to make that decision to be in our community, to be coached, consulted, or educated, then reach out to us and let me know. Hey, I'm ready. I don't need to hear anything else. If you're still on the fence and you still have questions about what direction you need to go because you want to have clarity, go through the workbook. Take the walkthrough videos. Go through each point in the workbook. And then when you have your questions lined up, text strategy. We'll set up a strategy call, answer your questions. Either way, I appreciate you for watching the show today. Love y'all. It's Friday. Have an amazing rest of the weekend. And as I always say, you know, unless I'm at a property or in the middle of a business meeting, I'll see you Monday, 12 o'clock noon Eastern Standard Time. Same place right here on the Ramon Preston Show.